Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about what looks to be like the conclusion to the Microsoft and Activision merger, as well as some additional details that have been revealed in the court case between Microsoft and the FTC, and an agreement between Sony and Microsoft, and a Starfield fan has already made their own ship, and Xbox says goodbye to a legend. So I'm going to start off with what seems like it's going to be the rapid conclusion to the Microsoft acquisition of Activision. Now, about 2 weeks ago, the court proceedings did wrap up between Microsoft and the FTC. And this past week, July the 11th, we did get a ruling from Judge Corley, who was presiding over this court case. And her ruling came down to deny the FTC an injunction request. Now, basically what the FTC was trying to do here was just delay out the ability for Microsoft to close on the Activision deal. And it seems like they were kind of hoping that Microsoft and Activision would kind of just step away from the merger and let it just fall apart. But that wound up not being the case, as the FTC did get denied. On July 12th, the FTC did appeal the Judge Corley decision to deny their injunction request, which kind of shocked a lot of people, as they don't typically do appeals if they do lose some of those requests. So it was kind of shocking that they actually did appeal that. But on July the 14th, the 9th District Court denied the FTC's appeal. So it does seem like the FTC is at the end of their road. They don't really have anywhere else to go. So it seems like Microsoft and Activision are going to be able to close their agreement. And really the only thing that is standing in their way is some kind of an agreement with the CMA out of the UK. That's basically like the UK's FTC. And this past week, Microsoft and the CMA actually both agreed to pause the court proceedings that they had over there and actually tried to come up with some agreement, which seems to be like it's revolving around divesting some cloud assets in the UK. So that was just what was reported. And we should be hearing kind of the conclusion to the Microsoft CMA negotiations on Monday, July the 17th. Now, to a little bit more of the interesting side, not so much the court minutia stuff. One of the things that was actually revealed in the court case between the FTC and Microsoft was that Microsoft actually expected to sell copies of Starfield on PlayStation. So taking a look here at a tweet from Steven Totillo, who covers video games for Axios. So take a look at this little brief section. Despite having more than 1 million units forecasted for both Starfield and Indiana Jones on PlayStation, Microsoft believed it could offset losses incurred from taking ZeniMax games exclusive through upside to Game Pass and increase console sales. What is interesting here is the admission that Microsoft did expect a certain number of sales on PlayStation, and in this case, 10 million units. But they decided to forego that release and think they could make it up on console sales and Game Pass subscriptions. So here's the interesting part. If console sales and Game Pass subscriptions from the uptick on Starfield fall short of their financial forecast for what they think that they would be able to get from those increase in sales and Game Pass subs, will Microsoft eventually release Starfield on PlayStation? Well, in my opinion, it will depend just how short of those target projections they are. If they're a little short of their projections, then I don't think they will. Like there will be no benefit to it. But if they come in way short or they're not seeing that uptick, then they might. But I don't think it'll happen anytime within the next 2 years. They're going to allow plenty of time to see if Starfield has that uptick on console sales and Game Pass subscriptions, which I would imagine they've already probably started seeing some of that, but I would imagine they let it go for a ways, probably definitely past Christmas and the holiday season, to see how much of a bigger financial impact there is. So yes, if you do play on PlayStation and you do want to play Starfield, I think this would be probably the best bet, is if Microsoft didn't hit the conversion or their financial forecast numbers for having Starfield just exclusive to Xbox. Now, the other part to this is the Indiana Jones part to this. And, we don't really know how, they're looking to make all that upside, but we'll probably get a pretty good indication here over the next maybe year and a half, if we start to hear something about either one of these games, Starfield or Indiana Jones, potentially being released to PlayStation in the future. And one thing that's kind of interesting is I might be covering Indiana Jones on the channel. We'll just have to wait and see, because outside of the name, I don't really know anything about the game. And really, the last Indiana Jones game there was all the way back in like 2009. So yeah, I might be covering it on this channel. I don't know. We'll just have to see when we get more details. Now, since the FTC lost its appeal and its court cases against Microsoft in the Activision acquisition, some news that came out early Sunday morning was that Sony and Microsoft agreed to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation going forward. But if you're interested in more of those details, I'll have the link down below. And even though Starfield's a little bit over a month and a half away, that has not stopped certain Starfield fans from actually making their own ship. Posted on the Starfield Reddit page, a user by the name It's All Pixels posted a collection of 7 images, and one of them you see here, about a ship that they made in Blender. So yes, people are excited. They want to get in and make their ships. I get that. But you should definitely check out that Reddit, as those 7 pictures were actually really impressive. And the last thing is, while all the court case stuff was going on, we did hear from Larry Herb, or AKA Major Nelson, who's been one of the biggest faces for the Xbox brand to the community for much of the past 20 years, is going to be stepping away from Xbox. He has been there through many of the Xbox highs and lows and highs and lows, and it's very impressive to see him just kind of be that constant, steady ship that was always there throughout all of it. And now he is looking forward to the next things that he's going to be doing in his career. So congratulations to you, Mr. Larry Herb, and wishing nothing but the best in whatever you do in the future, as I'm sure, without a doubt, whatever it is, it's going to be a major Nelson success. That pretty much covers it for what kind of went on this past week. I don't know if I'm going to be doing these all the time, like every week or not, but there was quite a bit that actually came out over the past week and a half that I felt like, you know, it was a good amount of information to make, you know, kind of summation of a lot of things that were kind of going on. But I'll leave a link to a lot of that stuff down below if you want to go check out more about it. But are you glad that Microsoft and Activision finally going to be able to close the deal and we can stop hearing about this in the news? What about Starfield exclusive on Xbox? Do you think they're going to miss their targets and they're going to eventually release Starfield on PlayStation? What do you think about that Starfield fan ship? Let me know what you think. Alrighty, take care.